I suddenly woke up realizing it was all just a dream. My feelings for her were still very deep, and I truly still loved her very much. But because of cruel fate, I couldn't do otherwise. I always hoped she would find new happiness, someone more deserving of her than me. One drizzly afternoon in Saigon, as I sat with my parents drinking tea in the courtyard, watching the rain fall and chatting about village stories, the doorbell rang. I was a little surprised as visitors rarely came at this hour. I went to open the door, and standing before me was Diana. She was a little thinner, her hair longer, but those blue eyes still shone like sunlight after the rain, and that smile still made my heart skip a beat wildly. Her familiar perfume wafted through the air like a breeze from the past. I froze, unable to believe my eyes. "Diana, what are you doing here?" I stammered, my voice trembling with emotion. I missed you," she said. Her voice choked, her eyes glistening with tears. Then without another word, she rushed into my arms, hugging me tightly as if afraid I would vanish. "I'm sorry, Hai. I was wrong. I didn't understand. You didn't understand what you were going through. I want to try. I want to understand your world. I want to fix my mistake." My parents came out to see, initially confused about what was happening, but then seeing Diana hug me and cry, they gradually understood. My mother stepped closer, took Diana's hand, her eyes gentle. "My daughter has returned," she said in Vietnamese, though she didn't understand English, but sensed the sincerity and love in Diana's eyes. My father nodded, smiling kindly, patting me on the shoulder. A few days later, when we had regained our composure, Diana recounted her decision-making journey to me. She sat opposite me in our small family kitchen, her gaze distant as if looking back at her days in America. "Hui, you know the decision to come to Vietnam wasn't easy at all," Diana began, her voice a whisper full of emotion. "I had to battle with myself, with the prejudices I had built up over so many years. I was scared of a completely alien world, a place I once thought I would never belong to." She sighed, then continued. "I spent weeks getting everything in order. I resigned from my company. Everyone looked at me as if I were crazy. I sold off unnecessary belongings in our apartment, things I once thought were so important. For several nights I couldn't sleep, just lying there thinking. I asked myself, am I going in the right direction? Is this a crazy decision? I prepared myself for an adventure. I didn't know where it would lead. Hui. When I booked the flight, my hands were shaking. I didn't tell you beforehand because I wanted to surprise you and also to challenge myself. I told myself if you no longer loved me, or if I couldn't integrate into life here, then this would be a meaningless trip, the biggest gamble of my life. I risked everything." Her eyes looked deep into mine, tearful. When the plane landed at Tan Son Nhut Airport, I took a deep breath, feeling the humid heat and the characteristic atmosphere of Saigon. The smell of traffic, the smell of food. Everything was very different, but somehow it no longer scared me as before. I took a taxi, giving the address of your house in the small coastal town. On the way, I looked at the unfamiliar scenery through the window, my heart pounding incessantly. I had prepared myself for everything, for difficulties, for surprises. Except for one thing. Would you still accept me? Would you forgive me for what I said, what I did? I held her hand tightly, feeling the warmth and the fear that still lingered in her voice. "You're here now, Diana. I always waited for you.